you we always been ready. I don't need people that's petty, that weigh on me heavy while I'm being steady. I need a record with Felly, we get it bouncing like Betty's, I feel like I'm Nelly. Don't bring the beef like a deli, it's leave on a levy, no sleeping on me like I'm Freddy. Chris Breeze, how I do, hit him with the moves. Left hand step back, ballin' like I'm Coos. All faith, God's plan, you just gotta choose. Got slaps, nothing left to prove. Y'all gotta leave me alone. Lately I've been in my zone. Told them no cap like I fitted, but lately the flows have been straight off the dome. I feel like I'm MVP, like my name Patty Mahomes. If it ain't about money, don't hit on my phone, cause lately I've been in my zone.
Hello, welcome to the Cowboy Show, hosted by Ben Carey and Nick Gronerad, combining expert human opinions with cutting-edge simulation models to help you arrive at the best picks each week. Inside Edge Community. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to today's stream. I just realized that the cameras are fucked. You can't see either of us. Let me change that real quick. I had fixed that, and then it must have unfixed itself. We're both hidden. There's Data. There's me. Hello. Okay. Cameras are working. So how's everyone doing this morning? We've got a pretty interesting college basketball slate today. I think interesting is an appropriate word for it. I'm not sure that I'd call it a good slate, but it's an interesting slate. So Data, how you feeling today? I'm
good. No hangover, which is always good.
Yeah, it was a bit of a late night last night for all of us. We had a sweat stream on here watching some Olympic hockey. We watched the rig get put in real time in the Canada-Russia women's Olympic hockey match. We needed Canada -6.5. We only got Canada -5 because of an overturned goal. And then the momentum that caused that also prevented another goal from going in. Kind of hard to cover -6.5 when you only score 6 goals. But that's another story. So yeah, we've got some college basketball coming at you today. For anybody who is new to the stream, how it works is we have 5 categories. For each of the 5 categories, we have a game that we're going to discuss. And since it is Model Monday, the focus of the discussion is going to be on our models. So as hopefully most of you know, I have a model that I run. Data has a model that he runs. Sometimes we agree, sometimes we don't agree. But no matter what, we can always learn something from it. And that's the important thing. So Data, you have anything you want to say, or are you ready to just hop into it?
Hop into it. Let me see. Are there any comments? You got a hangover? No. Thankfully, I don't. Nope.
Yeah, no. Data took several shots on stream last night.
Yeah, I'm still sick over that Canada game too.
Yeah, that was rough. Jay Thompson, thank you for the Prime sub. Appreciate that very much. So let's go ahead and hop in to category number 1.
Degenerates only.
I was looking at Ballsack State -4 against Dickhead State. Ballsacks covered their last 10 straight games, and my boy says they're a wagon.
So category number 1 is degenerates only. Plenty of options today. I think like half of the games come from the MEAC and the SWAC, which are the 2 worst conferences in the country. But the game that we have decided to talk about today is a game between Holy Cross and Colgate. So this is a degenerate game for a couple reasons. Colgate is actually a pretty solid team. They performed quite well in the NCAA tournament last year. They ultimately lost their game to Arkansas, but they put up a fight. They were winning at halftime by quite a large margin. And this Holy Cross team is bad. They are really bad, and that's why we're seeing such a massive spread in this game. So Colgate is at home, 16.5 point favorites, and the over/under is sitting at 141. So Data, do you have any thoughts on
Yeah,
this game?
so you actually kind of let me pick the Degen game, and I picked this one because I feel whenever it's a 17-point spread, do you say it was minus, what was it? Minus 16 and a half.
16
Whenever
and a
it's
half.
that many points, I'm betting on a team. I gotta be honest, I feel like a degenerate because it's like, am I really betting on a team to blow out another team by like 20 points? That's ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
But in this case, Colgate, I've seen their games. I've watched them. I bet on them this season. I like them. They're a good team. Who the hell is Holy Cross?
Yeah, I mean that was kind of the discussion. We were up actually talking quite late, even past the sweat stream last night, just like talking about some games, and it was like, who the fuck is Holy Cross?
I've never seen a Holy Cross game. I don't know if that means I'm not knowledgeable on this and I can't talk on this, and maybe it does, or maybe it just means that I don't want to fall asleep while watching college basketball.
Yes, Scrunch in the chat is completely right. They have Jesus on their side.
You have Jesus on this, and Sister Mary, I guess, right?
Yeah. So they're in Worcester, Massachusetts, by the way. Holy Cross.
Again, I hate taking this large of a spread. It's always easier. It's easier to say, what's Trent's favorite saying? It's too many points.
Too many points.
But Colgate is by far the better team on paper. By far the better team if you're watching. It's just, the better team in general. And I don't see Holy Cross being able to keep up offensively, defensively, on the board anywheres. So I've got Colgate winning by 20 points, so I'm going to take the 16 and a half here.
All right. So I actually don't have Colgate covering this spread. I have Holy Cross covering.
Wow.
It makes me feel uncomfortable because Colgate is like just the vastly better team. There's no two ways about that.
That Jesus power, I guess.
Yeah, the power of Jesus, exactly. Not like Colgate has the will of Satan or anything on their side, but but yeah.
I feel like you gotta be careful. We're entering like Twitch cancel territory.
No, we're good. We can talk about stuff like that.
Okay.
You just can't say the S word because that's
Holy
what
Cross
really
just
counts.
beat a team outright as 16-point underdogs. Yeah.
Yeah, they did just
a
knock
lot
off
of
Army on the
teams do
road.
that. Crazy. You
Yeah.
get teams showing up randomly in college basketball and destroying 16-point spreads. But then you have 16-point spreads and teams getting shut out by like 40, 50. So it's really a matter of how good the two teams are, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, what I'm looking for here is kind of the tempo. So Colgate plays pretty slow. They're 189th in the country in KenPom. They still score a lot of points, just because their offense is good and the Patriot League defenses are quite bad. But Holy Cross also plays at a kind of slow tempo. They rank 205th in the country in tempo according to KenPom. So the thing that kind of worries me here is there just being enough possessions in this game for Colgate to stretch a lead consistently out into this 17 to 20 point range that they need to be at to cover. That being said, because taking Holy Cross does make me feel kind of uncomfortable, I'm actually going to take the under here. I'm going to take under 141.5, partially because the model likes it, partially so we can both win. Because that's fun. But my model has it going under by quite a few points. I'm curious what your thoughts on the total are, or what your model's thoughts on the total are.
I actually lean towards the over, but not by much. It's like, what's the total?
141.5.
Yeah, I've got 142.
Yeah,
Literally like right there.
yeah, and I do think that the two plays are pretty correlated. Colgate covering.
Yeah.
I mean, there has to be a lot of points scored in the game, at least, especially on Colgate's side, in order for Colgate to cover. So I think that makes sense. I think maybe if you're on my end of things and you like Holy Cross and the under, maybe a Colgate team total under is the better play. And if you're on Data's side, I mean, maybe because the total itself isn't so high, Just Colgate covering is the play, but a Colgate team total over is another potential thought. So people keep asking, how are you feeling after last night? The people haven't experienced. I mean, I actually haven't either firsthand experienced you, but you are apparently a literal machine when it comes to drinking and processing alcohol.
I'm a little tired. I could have used a little bit more sleep. For anyone who didn't know, Nick, and I plus a couple other surgeons were up till like, man,
We were up until like 5. I mean, you, Ryan, and I were up until about 5 Eastern.
5 a.m. Yeah, Eastern, I guess. Yeah, and then I gambled a little bit more after that, and I had to wake up at 8 a.m. Central for work. So I've been working for the past 4 hours. So.
Yeah, it's gonna be a bit of a sluggish day.
I will fall asleep as I watch this Holy Cross Colgate game. All right, that's
Now,
as they're winning by 30 points, then I'll fall asleep.
So a couple comments in the chat about this game. The whole having Jesus on their side thing definitely did work for Gonzaga against BYU. That is true. Maybe this is something that should be incorporated in the model, right? Just like who is their primary religious figure, or like their denomination. So Vsauce says Lauren is on Holy Cross. Could be good, could be bad. I mean, Lauren is good, but
That it seems like enough where it's kind of a sketch enough game where, again, like I said, I feel like a degenerate in the first place placing a bet on this large of a spread. So if someone's telling me they've got more knowledge on me on one of the teams and that there's a potential to cover that spread, that's a game I stay away.
yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. If you are looking to follow, also I think our leans are on the track. But if you are looking to follow me on the Colgate 16.5, I am no longer putting a unit on.
So let's see. So Geeb is asking about the Temple South Florida game. That is a game that is on the docket for later on. So we will be talking about that. Somebody asked about Pitt and Virginia Tech first half under. I don't really like dealing with first half stuff in college basketball. There's some people who have a better read on it than I do. But at least for me, my model doesn't separate first and second half. It's purely a full game.
I don't have halves or quarters for NBA either. It's tough.
And sorry, keep going. Somebody's asking about their timeout that they got in chat last night. I can pull up their chat log and see what happened.
No, I was just gonna say it's a lot more data that I have to import and sift through, and I just don't have the time for it. Even though I don't sleep, I don't have the time for it. But I was gonna say, as much of a degenerate as I am, for anyone who was on the stream last night, I bet $1,000 on next goal minus 950.
Yeah.
I'm still gonna stay away from this Holy Cross game. That's how sketched I am of it.
Yeah, no, we just.
Hey, by the way, that $1,000
degenerates
won.
only.
Just saying, that $1,000 won. So.
Oh, nice. Also, good call, Liver. Picks are in fact backwards.
I said that. You didn't hear me say that?
Oh no, I didn't hear you say that.
Yeah, I said your graphic is messed up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm actually just gonna, instead of changing the graphic, I'm gonna change the header.
For anyone who wasn't on the stream yesterday, my ladder is there because I had to change the light bulb, and I changed the light bulb on stream. So.
That was great content.
Yeah.
Also,
I did it before I was drunk.
Yeah, AFM radio. I timed you out because you said that the goal was confirmed. And when it was not confirmed.
I guess, should we keep moving?
Yeah, let's keep moving along. So speaking of the game that Krabs is on, let's
where does the audience lean on that?
Oh yeah, audience is on Holy Cross here. Pretty heavily, 85% of the votes are on Holy Cross.
Yeah, I'm staying away from this game.
Yeah, no, this is a sketch game. I mean, there's not a lot of unsketch games, but yeah, this one is sketch. So let me get Holy Cross up as the chat's lane. Yeah, no, and Radio, you're good. Apologies for the long time out last night. It's just tired of dealing with people trolling. So let's move on to category number 2.
Public intoxication.
Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the hype.
So our public intoxication play today is the game between Temple and South Florida. And since somebody said that Krabs was on South Florida, I think from that we can infer which side is the heavy public side, that being Temple. So Temple has, according to Action Network, 97% of the bets today. So Temple's been a pretty interesting team this year. I think that they're flying under the radar a little bit. I've bet on them, I think, 3 times this year, and I haven't lost, which makes me feel good. Although maybe my perspective of them is a little bit biased.
They are actually recently, I think, 8 for 9 against the spread.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was on them against.
You've been betting on them. You've been winning. You've been winning 8 out of 9 games. So
yeah, I was on them against Tulsa on Saturday. I know the game against not St. Joe's. Maybe it was St. Joe's, but there was another public intoxication game where they were underdogs, and they ended up winning it outright.
Yeah, they covered the spread in the last 5 according to this, and 8 of the last 9. So that's
nice.
Pretty good.
That is pretty good. So maybe this could have been featured on Court Streakers instead. So South Florida is at home, 4-point underdogs, and the total in this game is set at 124.5. So, Data, do you think that Temple keeps the hot streak going? Do you think they cover 9 out of 10? Do you think
not only is Temple on a hot streak, South Florida is on a big L streak. They are on a 4-loss streak right now. They just can't seem like if anyone was watching South Florida early, if you watch South Florida in the last few games, they've looked awful. But if you've watched them early on or even in the middle of the season, their defense was solid. And I'm a big defense guy, so watching South Florida's defense was fun to watch for me. But recently, a lot of bad offensive teams have been taking advantage of them, and they just can't get it going. I think they're actually 1-8 straight up in their last 9, 2-7 against the spread. So you're talking about not just Temple on a hot streak, but also South Florida on a loss streak, right?
Yeah.
And again, like I said, South Florida has lost to bad teams in the past few games. Owls, the Temples, are not a bad team. They're strong offensively. They're strong defensively. They're the better team. And even if either one of these teams was not on a hot streak or a loss streak, I'd still have Temple winning this game.
Yeah, so I'm with you. I've got Temple covering here. It's actually not by a whole lot. I have Temple by between 5.5 and 6 as their margin of victory here. But I do think just the South Florida team is too inconsistent to put together a full 40 minutes of basketball. That's kind of my thoughts on this game. I completely agree with you that South Florida earlier on in the year looked pretty good, especially defensively. I mean, that's been their calling card over the last couple of years is playing high pressure defense and just not letting the other team get into their rhythm. But if you try and play that kind of defense and you just can't do anything, I mean, it's terrible. It's worse than playing soft defense because you get into foul trouble and let the other team get to the line. You give up a lot of easy transition buckets if your press gets beat, and that's just kind of why this is happening to them.
I will say though, I think South Florida, like I said before, has the potential to be a great team, especially defensively. So at any point they could just get it together and find their rhythm, right? So if I was making this spread, or if I was, last night, for anyone who didn't know, last night Nick and I were competing and we were guessing what the line would be for,
No,
for game.
that was off stream. Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty fun. We were doing it off stream on Discord. And if I was determining this one, I would have Temple winning by 3. So I think at 4 points, it's rougher to take. I think that extra point might be, because of hot streaks or whatever. I'm not a big fan of that. I've never gone into that narrative really of, oh, they're on a slump or they're on a loss streak, because you can then easily make the opposite argument. Oh, they're desperate for a win. They really need this. This is a bounce back spot. So you can push that narrative whichever way you want, right? If you want that team to win, you're gonna say they're ready to bounce back. They're ready to win. This is a trap game. They can't lose 7 in a row. Meanwhile, if you want them to lose, you're saying they're on a 7-loss streak. They have no idea what they're doing. They can't get their shit together, right? Like, you can twist that narrative however you want. Same vice versa, right? On a win streak. Oh, they're bound to lose. There's no way they can stay on an 8-game win streak. Grizzlies have to lose for one, right? So I've never been too much a factor of hot streaks, cold streaks kind of thing. But just in general, I feel like a 3-point game is much safer here. So, if I'm putting my own money on this, I'm probably taking Temple money line. But I think for the lean, right, I'll go Temple spread.
Yeah, I'm on Temple spread here as well. So people are asking, do you think the line's going to move? I really don't think so. This opened up at 4.5, at least on whatever book put it out first. Looked like it moved to 4. And then I'm assuming that most of the actual money has come in on 4. It's not like there's RLM where it was sitting at 4.5 and then a ton of action came in at 4.5 and then it finally moved down. I don't really think that that's what's going on.
I will say, if you feel like it's trappy or if you feel like something flaky is going to happen, it's probably going to happen at the spread level.
Yeah,
that's the 4 points is always rough, right? Like,
yeah, four is
with these two teams, yeah.
So I will say that Temple has played a few teams recently in conference play that are better than this South Florida team on the road and have beaten most of them. So, so they beat ECU by 8 on the road. They lost by SMU by 8, but SMU is a borderline tournament team, and they did cover the spread in that game. They beat Tulsa on the road by 5, and they beat Central Florida, which I really think is kind of just a better version of this South Florida team. They knocked that team off by 4 on the road as well. So I think they have success against this style of basketball. So chat appears to be aligned with us and has Temple. We have 18 votes on Temple -4, 8 votes on South Florida -8. This is definitely, I think, going to be one of the more divisive games. I think that we're going to see both sides of this pitched on the Book It stream. Again, Krabs is on South Florida. I think Buzz is on Temple. I'm not sketched out by the money. So that is an interesting question, though. So the money percentage, bet percentage, is that something that you include in your model or care about at all?
It's not, and I will say the reverse line movement is something I do kind of want to dig more deep into, like why Vegas does it that way. But I talked last week about it, but I've never cared about the lines because for me, I don't even look at the lines, right? Whenever my model determines it, it looks first at the simulations. It does all the averaging. It does that regardless of lines or odds or money or public movement or anything like that, and it determines the score of the game over 10,000 simulation games, and then I compare it to the live odds to see if that bet is worth it, right? Like if I have a team winning by 8 on average in the majority of simulations and the line is at 4, then my model is going to tell me take it. Mm-hmm. Take it fast. And then obviously I don't just take it. I don't blind tail the model. I then go into the game. I think about it. If I don't know the matchups already, I do research into the teams and I hear what other people's thoughts and opinions are. I also respect a lot of the surgeons in our community too. So, I don't just blind tail the model either.
Yeah, and I also
think that I'd be losing. I promise you. My model is not perfect, not close.
No model is perfect. And it would be the same with mine. If I blindly took every spread and every total that the model spat out, it would be better than 50%. but it's worse than 52.5%.
Because of minus 110 odds, I'd be on a losing streak by far.
Yeah, I don't know anybody who has any kind of model or methodology that can be profitable blindly betting every single spread and total.
That may be my NHL one. My NHL one is ridiculously good, but it could be fluke. I need more NHL games.
So one last thing that I want to touch on along the lines of the money percentage is a part of this that people don't factor in when they talk about this stuff is that there's a time variable involved there as well. And where the money is going changes over time as the number changes, right? So if we're seeing 97% of the bets coming in on Temple, is that 97% came in at minus 4.5, and then it moved to minus 4, and now it's more 50-50? That's a piece of information that's just missing completely from the money percentage, bet percentage data. That really is the part that tells the whole story of where are people at this line, as opposed to where have people been across all of the lines that have existed. And that's just not information that we have. So let's go ahead. G unit mental model. That is true. G unit mental model. Tail that one. So let's go ahead.
His ROI or his win percentage. So I don't know if he's ever posted that or put that either.
No, but I mean everything is public, so you could.
Yeah. You could go through it and flip through it.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and move along now to category number 3.
Court streakers.
We're going streaking! Yes!
So category number 3, court streakers, was a tough one to find a good game for on kind of a small slate without a team that we have been featuring playing. So the best I could do is the game between George Mason and Richmond. And the streak that is active in this game is Richmond totals. Richmond has gone under in 5 straight games. So they're hosting George Mason today. Kind of a local rivalry-ish. Schools are a couple hours apart. Definitely, as far as the A10 is concerned, at least these two plus VCU are kind of the DC Richmond corridor teams. Richmond is an 8-point favorite at home. Total in this game is sitting at 138.5. So data, is Richmond's under streak going to continue? Or is this one destined to go over?
This one is definitely a tougher one just because of the matchup of these two teams. So if anyone's seen these two teams, I think, how many times did they play? I think it's 2 times, maybe 3 times. But their offense seems to do well. Richmond's offense seems to do well against George Mason. They don't struggle as offensively as they do against other teams. But personally, I think both of these teams' defenses are really strong. I think they're both ranked within the top 150th. They're both really strong at guarding the perimeter as well. And I think the only question will be is if Richmond's threes actually start landing or not. I think because of the pace and who's at home? Richmond's at home, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Richmond's probably going to dictate the pace. So I think this does go under. I think it keeps the streak going.
Yeah, I'm with you. So I have this game at 133 total wise. So I like the game to go under as well. And for pretty much all of the same reasons that you said.
I have it at 136. So it's going to be close in my mind. And I think 136 is spot on. Like, if I was determining the score, I would probably put it around that point, too.
Yeah, so what's interesting is this actually opened up even higher. It opened up at 140 and has been bet down to 138.5. It seems like it's kind of sat there at this point. I wouldn't be surprised. Somebody just said 96% of the money's on the over. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of that isn't at the 140 number. It's coming in at 138.5. So it's not really an RLM thing. But I think that this is a good under spot as well. I think the one thing that scares me as far as an under is concerned is the fact that Richmond does play a pretty aggressive defensive style. So we could see a situation where teams are in foul trouble pretty early on, and then free throws just piling up throughout the course of the game send it over. That is the thing that worries me. Although I kind of don't think that we're going to see that.
What's nice though is George Mason's pace is pretty slow, right? They usually focus more on like passing and efficiency rather than speed.
Yeah.
So that's really good for the under. I also read something, I'm not sure where, but I read there was an injury potentially. I'm not sure if chat knows anything about it, but I'd read something that George Mason's top scorer might be out.
Yeah, let me take a look.
I'm gonna find it. Twitter's like the only source of...
Josh Oduro questionable with a concussion.
Yeah. So that could be really big for the under.
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah.
I think that Oduro is a pretty good defender as well. So, from that perspective, it might be good for the over. He's averages 17.7 points a game, but he also averages a steal and a block and a half.
Yeah. I mean, but 17.7 points per game is pretty good.
Yeah.
I think he's one of the top guards in the Atlantic 10, right? So, like,
he's a really good player.
Yeah.
So Scrunch said, last I heard he was leaning playing.
Yeah, so it's always tough. I don't like betting games with questionable players on it. I don't think I've ever really bet a game or really wanted to bet a game where I wasn't sure if, especially the top player, right? Like if I'm looking at Lakers and LeBron's questionable, I'm not touching that game. Or the Nets and Harden is questionable, hell no, I'm not touching that game. Right?
Yeah, it's a silly thing to be touching those games in those situations.
You're literally betting on news, right? Unless you have some kind of inside knowledge or source, or maybe Buzz calls up his coach friend over and GMU. We'll see.
So we do actually have consensus for the second pick in a row. Chat likes the under here, 15 votes to 8.
Again, for all transparency's sake, I'm also not betting on this game.
Yeah, no, I don't have any action on this game either. I would probably lean the under, and maybe also Mason plus the points if Oduro is in, but without that knowledge, it's impossible to
But you said under if he's in or over if he's in.
I probably like the under either way.
Yeah.
I might like Mason plus the points even more if he is playing.
If he's playing, yeah.
Also, this line won't stay at 8 if he's confirmed in.
I was gonna say if he's ruled out and the line somehow stays the same, I'm taking the under, but I doubt it would. And the plus 8 will definitely move. Maybe the under might not, but the 8 will definitely move.
Yeah. Also, so I see some questions, comments in the chat about some other games. We'll have a little bit of time for Q&A about games that we don't talk about in the regularly scheduled portion at the end.
Probably move to the next
so save the questions and we'll get to them then. All right, so let's move ahead and talk about category number 4.
Game of the day.
The ball is tipped, and there you are. You're running for your life. You're a shooting star.
So category number 4, game of the day, not so surprisingly, is the only ranked matchup tonight. I mean, it's one of only a few power conference matchups that's happening at all. But this is going to be a really good game. So game of the day, Kansas going on the road to Austin, Texas, taking on the Longhorns of the University of Texas. Texas, despite being at home here, is a 1.5-point underdog. Over-under is set at 131. So Data, you're a Texas guy. How do you feel about these Longhorns?
I actually went to UT for a year. Their team is good. This year they are good. I've seen a few of their games. Obviously they're ranked, so it's not a very big mismatchup like Arizona versus Arizona State. This one's always tough because Kansas is the one I'm more worried about. I feel like Texas is consistent. Texas has been consistent. Their defense has been really strong, which, again, I love defensive teams. But the thing I love more, in my opinion, than defensive teams are teams that play off the glass. I really love teams who take advantage of offensive boards and, denying offensive boards on the other team, especially in college, because no one makes baskets in college. Not even Kansas, who's top 20 offensively, for sure. I don't know where they're ranked, but I promise they're really high up. The board is so important, and I think Kansas is just amazing off the board. Texas has always been weak on that side of the thing. I think that's where Texas's defense struggles the most. Again, all of that said, really, really tough. But all of that said, I still will take Texas here. My model has Texas winning by 6 points. And I really hate this game because Kansas is so inconsistent. It hurts. But I think Texas has shown that they're a better team right now. Again, Kansas is struggling. I hate using that struggling factor because you can say that, again, to put your narrative anyway. But I'm gonna take Texas here.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like the Longhorns here. For a lot of the same reasons that you said. My model also has Texas by about 6. So it's nice to see that we're in a little bit of consensus on that, despite Texas being the underdog that we have them winning.
And I see why, because Texas has lost. They lost terribly to Texas Tech and Gonzaga. They did not play to the level of competition. And we're talking about level of competition. You're talking about Kansas,
yeah,
Kansas is Kansas, right? But if they're able to play like they can play, then Texas can take this game. It's tough. It's really, really tough. If Texas plays to the level that they should be able to play, then I have Texas.
Yeah, and I think that, so people are rightly talking about the Kansas Baylor game that just happened, where Kansas beat them by what, 24 points? A lot of that was just because Kansas could do whatever they wanted offensively. They shot better than 50% from the field. And that's just not something that happens against Texas. Texas, I mean, they don't have Shaka Smart anymore, but this is still just an insanely tenacious defensive team.
Let's not forget about the Kentucky game. I was watching that in Vegas with Nikki, and that was, yeah. If that Kansas shows up, there's going to be a blowout the other way.
Mm-hmm. Somebody in the chat named Tenacious liked the fact that I said the word tenacious, just casually.
Tenacious D.
Uh-huh. Good old Tenacious D. And so this Texas team also just blew out a ranked team in their most recent game. They beat Iowa State by 22.
Yep.
So the line movement. Yeah, line movement here is a little bit interesting. So this game opened up at Texas being favored by a point and has moved now to Kansas being favored by 1.5. So
yeah, I mean, it's as simple as, right, I don't know. Because I want to say it's as simple as where the money is, right? But then you have lines that don't move when 95% of the public is on it, or they move the other way. But
yeah, I mean,
really...
public action doesn't move lines. Sharp action moves lines.
Yeah. But people see Kansas versus Texas. It's your first thought immediately. Like, you don't look at the matchup, you don't look at the stats, you don't look at any of the data. Kansas is the better team, right? Kansas is ranked higher. Kansas is a better record overall. Kansas. When you say who's the better team, just off the top of your head, you say Kansas, right? But in this matchup, in Texas at home, and the defensive way they can hold down Kansas's scoring, I think Texas has the edge here. But
Yeah.
I want to be honest again. Another game I'm not touching.
Yeah. This is a game that I'm gonna be looking at a little bit more. I haven't placed any bets on it yet, but I am strongly considering it.
If I hear enough people like in the surgeon chat today for the sorry, what's it called? The surgical stream. If I hear people giving me a good reason for Texas beyond what I've said, or a good reason for Kansas, I might lead one way or the other. But right now, like, my head says Kansas, but my model says Texas.
Which one do we trust more? I feel like every time I try and pick against my model, I lose.
Problem is you're betting whenever you're betting on inconsistent teams, you're really betting on how they're gonna play tonight, right? Which again feels like a coin toss, and I'm not a fan of putting $100 on heads or tails. As much as I love gambling, I'm trying to cap here, right? So yeah.
Also,
I like
people are
teams.
People are calling out what I said about public money and moving lines. In big marquee games, public money can move lines. But the way that a lot of books work is in a sport, say like college basketball. There's only a couple books that are actually in the business of setting lines. So that's a book like Circa, say. So Circa sets lines early in the day with lower limits, but still kind of high limits for that time of the day, and they take action at whatever number they originally set. And they have profiles for everybody who's placing bets, and the people who are the sharpest bettors, the ones who historically kind of will be winning, the line will move in response to where those people are, as opposed to where people who are 50-50 bettors are, even if they're betting the same amount of money, because the book knows that the people who are actually winning have a good read on where the number is, and maybe they should move in according to where those people are. A lot of other books, like your DraftKings, your FanDuels of the world, they, except for extremely rare circumstances, aren't in the business of actually setting their own lines. They will contract with other books to more or less copy their lines, and only move their lines in response to line moves on the other book. And those books are the sharp books that move their action on actual sharp money.
Fuck the coin flips. We like the juice. We have about 1,000 bones on minus 950 odds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's the locks.
I was drinking. Fruity told me that I'm not blaming Fruity, but Fruity told me that Russia had not scored in Canada in like 5 years or some shit, and I was like, oh, this sounds like a lock. And so yeah, obviously I took it. It won, so I can't blame anyone, because one, I placed the bet. Two, it won.
Yeah,
Three,
you lucked
even if
out.
I did lose, I placed the bet again. So
No, I mean, when in doubt, just blame Fruity, right?
it was a fun sweat. I felt like it was too early. We were 2-0. I needed something to sweat right away.
Yeah, you got.
That's a whole different topic.
Yeah, you lucked out that you placed the bet when you did, and not when it was 4-0.
Yep.
So a couple comments. Cubs Mafia says, Data, thank you for responding to his DM. Cam Carter said, thoughts on Texas, Kansas. We literally just finished talking about that game. So Data and our models both lean Texas, and chat has voted on the over. So 78% of the votes had the over.
I didn't even check the total. Let me see what.
So total is set at 131.
No, I have.
I just close out
I
with
actually really like that.
the over.
Yeah, but I'll stay on Texas. I like the over. I might do some more digging. I might end up putting a unit on the over.
Yeah, I have the total is basically a push.
Got 134.
Yeah, I have like 130 and a half. But I mean, free throws can easily change that. So Berg Gang represent Pittsburgh. Lived in Pittsburgh for 3 years. I'm assuming Berg means Pittsburgh. What the stuff here is we have 5 categories of games that we talk about on the stream. These are not necessarily like our 5 most confident bets of the day. Just games that are interesting for certain reasons. So there's descriptions of the categories running across the screen on the bottom. And these are just our leans on these interesting games. The last category, which is the one that we're about to get into, is actually our favorite bets of the day. So if you're looking to blindly tail, which I don't recommend blindly tailing, I recommend doing a little bit of research in addition to seeing what we have to say. But these are going to be our top bets of the day. In this
No
next
yawning
category.
data. I apologize. How dare I yawn?
Yeah. It's unprofessional.
Unprofessional.
I was yawning for hours on stream last night. So speaking of category number 5, it is, of course, our best bets. And in order to make a poll to see where the chat is on with their best bets, I need you guys to tell me what your best bets are. So post them in the chat. I will take 5 of them and throw them in the poll. So I'm going to play the video clip. Yeah, only college basketball. I'm going to play the video clip. And you guys let me know what you're on.
Big Brain Plays.
Come on. Think. Brain blast!
All right. So looking through the chat, I'm seeing some opposite opinions on the Stony Brook, New Hampshire game. Although I do see 2 people on New Hampshire, so I'm going to throw that up. New Hampshire is sitting at +5. Duke.
One guy got
I'll
Duke
call
plus
that.
12. I wish my book offered Duke plus 12.
Yeah, Duke +12 sounds pretty nice.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you could probably get it. It's like you're just buying a couple points.
Yeah, just a couple. For anyone who doesn't know about, well, I guess while you're making this poll and everything, for anyone who doesn't know on the percentages for points, at least my own personal take on it, is that the way they sell points is at 10%, right? So if you're at -110 and you're trying to buy half a point, it should be valued at 10%. So if you're at -3.5 and it's -110, then and your book is offering it to you, it should be at -4 for -120, right? Or sorry, other way around, -3 for -120. If again, I'm not a big fan of buying it. That 10%, if you do the mathematical, like statistical analysis on it, unless you're buying a push, I guess, and you really feel like it's going to be a push, I'm not a fan of buying points. I know Nick's stated his views on buying points as well many times. But I think there are some advantages sometimes when you can get a better value. If you have a book and you can take advantage of it, sometimes they offer points at like 5%, or sometimes they offer points at like 20%. So you really have to do the math on that and see what you're getting it at. Because if you're talking like -2 or something like that, and it's at -110, and then the money line is at -130, you're getting those points at basically 5%. So, in my opinion, that's worth it. Again, you have to remember that you buy down to -half, because -half is the same thing as money lines.
Yeah. All right, so poll is up. 5 options that we have are New Hampshire +5, Duke -11.5, Montana State -10, Chattanooga -4.5, and since people were so insistent, I threw the Southern Illinois University Edwardsville money line in there. I think they're like +1, -1, depending on the books. It's basically just to pick them.
Yeah, worth 8 cents is. I think that sounds right. That it's worth 8 cents. They do 10 cents to get their value. So if you can ever find it at 5 cents, I found many times where I can buy points at 5 cents, depending on the book. If they don't put their lines in right, I take that shit.
Yeah. Also, somebody with a wild name just followed. Draggeth thy nuts. What a name. So, anyways, Data. What is your favorite bet today?
So we're gonna go to hockey, and my favorite hockey.
We need to. What is your favorite college basketball bet today?
I know. We talked about it yesterday. There's one game that I absolutely loved. When I saw this line, I immediately last night hit it. And I may not have been in the right mindset. I still think I was. We have our own bet on that. But I looking at it still hasn't moved, and I love it still. And I'm probably gonna hit it up again for another 2 units. I hit it for 1 unit last night, and I'm gonna hit it up for another 2 units. And that's Florida A&M versus Prairie View. Florida A&M is by far the better team, and the fact that they've got it at basically almost a pick'em is crazy. I've got A&M winning by 8 points. A&M's got the streak technically. I know their 7-game winning streak got snapped, but they've got the better team in the division. They're 7-3 if you're just looking at their record straight up in the East Division. While Prairie View is 4-6. It's such a good pick for me right here.
Yeah, I like this one as well. This Florida A&M. I know Ben, who I've seen in the chat, is about as big of a West Coast, or not West Coast, but not East Coast Florida A&M fan that you will ever find. And this Prairie View team is atrocious. They're really bad. So I like the spot for Florida A&M as well. So for me, my favorite bet. I know we were talking earlier in the Colgate game about big point spreads and how they can kind of be sketchy. But my favorite bet today is a big favorite that I still like to cover their spread. And that is Belmont, -19.5 against Austin Peay. So the reason that I like this, there's a couple reasons. So Belmont, they my model has them by about 26, which I like. That feels about right for me. They played an overtime game against Tennessee Tech in their last game. So Tennessee Tech, for anybody who doesn't know, is 5-18. Probably the second worst team or third worst team in that conference. Eastern Illinois is probably the literal worst. And they took Belmont to overtime. But they've been playing really well. I think that Belmont is due for a bit of a bounce back game. They shot pretty poorly from 3. And they just played kind of shit defense. I think they'll get the act together at home against a pretty bad Austin Peay team. Belmont's been blowing teams out at home. They beat Austin Peay by 8 on the road earlier this year. I think this is a good spot for Belmont to get their shit together and win by 25 today.
It's too many points for me.
That's understandable.
40-point spreads are like, oh man. Do I really think that the Cowboys are playing my high school football team?
Yeah, I just think that this Belmont team at home is a different beast.
Yeah, I mean, I say that, and last night I'm betting a 6.5 spread in hockey, like, so that's the equivalent of like a 30-point spread in college basketball. I feel like so.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm curious. What does your model have on the Belmont game?
On the Belmont game, I've got Belmont winning by 20 exactly. I've got 85-65.
I'll take it. I have, I guess, exact score-wise. I have
I'm liking the over.
85-58.
You telling me there's overtimes, Maybe I need some over.
So chat likes chat today. They like Chattanooga, -4.5. Chat's just voting on themselves. I don't know how I feel about that. So real quick, let's do some rapid fire questions. So Hofstra and UNC Wilmington, sketchy game.
Yeah, we talked about this one a bit yesterday, right?
Yeah, we talked about it off stream last night.
Yeah, I think we tried to guess where the spread was at, and I had it right on, and you were way off.
I was way off. Model actually has this like basically exactly on the spread. Jeffrey John's been very insistent about Hofstra -3.
What is the spread?
It's Hofstra -6 right now. I have Hofstra by 5.5.
Yeah, I said whenever I was guessing this game and this matchup and everything, I said Hofstra by 8. I think
that's where it opened up.
What was that?
It opened up at 8.
Yeah, so did it open up at 8 or did I guess 8?
No, it opened up at 8. Either way.
But either way, I looked at this matchup before I looked at the line, and I said it should be Hofstra -8. I think they are definitely the better team. I was willing to bet them if they were anything under -6, actually. -6 or below, I would have been willing to bet them. Looking at my model actually has Hofstra winning by 10. So I actually like Hofstra -6 here a lot.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I think so. UNC Wilmington, yeah, they were on fire for a little while, but they didn't win any games that weren't close. I think they were just more lucky than being a true talent kind of 10-1 team record-wise in conference. So I think that they've been a little bit overrated in their last couple of games because of that.
I will say that they do have Hofstra's number in the past, right? I think in this matchup, UNC Wellington almost always wins against Hofstra. I don't have the right. Let me see if I can pull it up.
Yeah. So while you're doing that, the next game is I've seen somebody asking about throughout the stream is Stony Brook. So Stony Brook in New Hampshire.
Yeah, they beat. There we go. They beat Hofstra once this year, 78-72. Yeah, and they UNC Wellington is also really good after resting up. They're one of those teams that can't really play back-to-backs, and I think they have. When's the last time they played? Like a few days ago. So I think they have like 3 days of rest, which is huge for them.
Mm-hmm. So, what are your thoughts on this Stony Brook, New Hampshire game?
Stony Brook, New Hampshire.
And specifically the total.
On my head, I have no thoughts on it.
Yeah, it's a kind of sketch game that I don't really have a whole lot of thoughts on.
Yeah.
I would lean the under. Somebody's asking about the over. I do have the game going under by a couple points. And I think it really just boils down to New Hampshire's rebounding. They're one of the best rebounding teams in the country, especially on the defensive end. Stony Brook is a team that jacks up a lot of threes. So if they're missing threes, this is a good spot for New Hampshire and a good spot for an under. But I don't really like betting on games like that unless I have a really good feel for it.
I've got zero thoughts on this game. I think I have them. My model has them right at the spread and right at the almost right at the total. So
yeah. So let's 2 more games that we'll touch on real quick before we hop over to the Book It stream. Arizona State is the other kind of interesting game that we haven't touched on. I love Arizona in this spot.
Yeah, we talked about this one off stream again a bit as well, and Who got this one right? Was it you or was it I?
I think we were both pretty close. I think
Yeah,
we
we
were only
both
like a
were.
point or two off from each other.
Yeah. I think I overshot a bit because I thought I could see Arizona winning this. I know that this game was way closer last time around. And I know that they're in Arizona State this time around. But they shot, I think you said it last time, right, Nick? They shot 13% from three last time. So I don't think that happens again. I think they go back to their average. Arizona takes this game. Off the top of my head, I said that Arizona should win by 14 or 15. But my model, actually, now that I'm looking at it right now, has them winning by 16. So, yeah, I mean, everything screams Arizona to me. They're obviously the better team. If anyone's going to come out here and tell me that Arizona's not the better team, I think you may need to take a break from gambling.
Yeah. Arizona State alternate spread -12. It's a great way to just donate. And last question. Middle Tennessee State -12.5. So I have Middle Tennessee by 9. But my model also has kind of consistently overvalued Texas San Antonio all year by a couple points. So their games are kind of just auto fades for me.
I've got Middle Tennessee by 12. Too damn close.
Yeah, that's not a game that I want to touch.
Yeah, that's not one.
UTSA is very streaky and inconsistent. They have good players, but kind of struggle to put together 40 minutes. All right. I think it's time to wrap up. We went a little bit over time. I believe the Book It stream has started already. I think a lot of people have already headed over there. But thank you to everyone in the chat for being here. Thank you to DataMining for joining us on this stream today. If anybody in the chat happens to not be following him on Twitter, be sure to go do that at DataMining Bets on Twitter. One of the best follows out there.
Sometimes, sometimes post things.
You post like 30 game cards.
I bet on all of those games. So
Yeah.
anytime I'm giving you a bet, I have money on it, except for the stream, which I've been very clear that I so far have no money. So.
Yeah, no, and I mean, and I'd like to think that it's pretty clear that the first 4 categories is more content discussing interesting games. We're not just here to give out a bunch of picks to tail. We're here to generate discussion.
Yeah, if I don't have money on it, I'm not giving my advice on it. It means that I don't like a pick in that game. So if you don't see one on my 30 card sheet, then that means that I'm not betting on it.
Yep. All right, so let's wrap it up. Good luck to everyone on your bets today, and I'm sure we'll see most of you over in the Book It stream, and we'll see you on stream tomorrow, same time, same place with Wiley. So be sure to tune in for that. See you next time. Later.